it's Jenna G. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my kitchen. I hope you guys are enjoying the Indian sweets I have posted so far. Today's video we're actually going to be doing another Indian sweet, and this time we're going to be making some flour halwa. So flour halwa is yet another favorite here in Trinidad. There's a cream of wheat halwa version, and then there's also the flour halwa version. I will post a link for the cream of wheat recipe down below so you guys can go check that out. But let's jump into this flour halwa video. These are the ingredients we need for our flour halwa, or Sirnee as we also call it in Trinidad. I'm using some all-purpose flour in this recipe, some margarine, we need some water as well, evaporated milk, some granulated sugar, condensed milk. I'm going to be using some of these dried raisins and cherries. You can add sultanas in any amount that you like. Ground cinnamon, some salt we're going to be using as well. So there are various steps to getting your flour halwa done. So the first thing you want to start off doing is combining the evaporated milk with the water. The granulated sugar goes in as well, the condensed milk, the spices, the salt, and also the dried fruits. And you want to heat that up, bring that to a boil just until the sugar melts, and you want to reduce the heat and keep it warm in the meantime. So this step is basically to just get that milk mixture nice and warm, mix everything up, of course, to ensure it's all incorporated nicely, and you want that sugar to melt. While we have the milk mixture being kept warm, the next thing you want to do, step 2, is to parch the flour. Now the parching of the flour can take some time, so you just want to have some patience with it. So you're going to add your flour to a dry pan, a wide base pan if possible. That's just to ensure that it gets nicely colored throughout the flour, and you're going to keep that on low medium heat. You're going to keep stirring it. It will take some time until it gets that nice golden brown color. Now the thing with this step, you can parch it as much as you like until you get that nice color, but be mindful that a few steps down, you're going to notice that the color will change. So in this step, if it reaches the exact color that you like your halwa to be, chances are when you have the finished product, it's going to be a little darker than you expected. So basically in this step, don't get it to that exact perfect color halwa that you like just yet. Alright, so you definitely can't see it on the camera, the color, but it is lightly brown right now. So this is just fine enough for me. So now we're going to move on to the next step. So once you've got your parched flour, you've got your warm milk ready, the next step would be to melt that margarine. So in another pot, you're going to put the margarine to melt, low medium heat again, and when it's nicely melted, you're going to add in your flour. Now guys, for this part, I must admit, I do apologize. The camera was accidentally off. I did not realize it was off, and I was just there talking to the camera thinking that it was on, only to realize it was actually off. So I just had to go back and do just a little demo for you guys. So once the margarine is nicely melted, this is what it's going to look like when you add the flour, just in case anybody wants to see this step. And you're just going to keep stirring it up. So this, now back to the proper recipe, proper video for this flour halwa. This is what it looks like once you've got your flour nicely mixed into your margarine. Now you want to keep stirring it up and fry it up for like about 3 to 5 minutes or so. So if you'll notice, this is the step that I was talking about where that color just darkens. So you went from kind of lightish brown parched flour to a darker brown flour mixture when you add it to your margarine. So that's something to be mindful of when you are parching your flour. So once you have your flour and your margarine all nicely incorporated, then the next step would be to add the warm milk mixture to the flour and margarine mixture. Now this step, be careful, it can splatter, so you're going to add a little bit and you're going to keep stirring it. Now let's just talk about this step, guys. So when you continue adding that liquid to the flour mixture, you're going to notice that there's a lot of liquid. So do it piece by piece. Add some milk, stir it up, make sure you stir properly. You might need some arm strength, but have patience with it. So keep stirring it, and then adding all of the liquid mixture. This is one of those recipes again that calls for flour and liquid, and something to be mindful of every time that you're using a recipe that calls for flour and liquid. The flour is going to absorb a lot of that moisture, a lot of that liquid. So if you see that it looks as though there's a lot of liquid in there, don't worry about it. Keep stirring. The flour is just going to soak it all up, and that's exactly what you want to have. If that's exactly what you want to see, if you do want to have a very nice and moist finished product. So you can see now it looks like there's way too much liquid in there. That's okay, just keep stirring. In a couple of minutes, you're going to start to see it pulling away from the sides of the pot, which is exactly what you want to happen. So at this point, you can add in your dried fruits, but I would have added them in earlier to the milk mixture. The reason for doing that was just to make sure that they were soft. So it depends on the dry fruits you get. Sometimes they can be very, very stiff, and you don't really want too much of a stiff bites in your halwa. So if you notice, I did add it in the earlier step when I put the milk mixture to warm. So you can do it either way, whichever you prefer. So once you've got your flour halwa mixture all nicely done, the next thing you want to do is transfer it across to a greased baking dish. So you want to be mindful when you are transferring it across to the dish, the thickness that you like your halwa can determine what size you use. So I think this dish was according to the husband, can be wrong, but I think it was a 13 by 8, right? I think it was like a 13 by 8 dish that we used, and it was like a little thick. So if you have larger dishes, you can use the larger one. If you want a thin piece of halwa, it's all up to you. Or if you think this is a lot, just half the recipe and just work accordingly to what it is that you prefer. So once you've got it all nicely laid out in that greased baking dish, you can flatten it out, smoothen it out with a spatula or something to make sure you got that nice smooth surface. Now the thing is, you can actually ball it out if you prefer to get it in the flour halwa balls. You can put it in the square pieces. You can even leave it in the clumps, as my husband actually prefers to have it. So it really depends on how it is you like eating your flour halwa. So there you have it, guys, your flour halwa recipe and video. That you guys enjoyed it. I think this is one of the favorites, of course, around Eid time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've never made it, definitely give it a try. I think for sure you guys would like it, would love it. If you've never had it, be sure to try it as well. So of course, comment down below, let me know what you guys thought of the video. Let me know how differently you make your flour halwa. Of course, I'm always up for hearing different versions of recipes, so feel free to comment down below, and don't forget to send me those pictures, guys. So as always, go try this flour halwa recipe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. And the size of the tray, guys, to be honest with you, I sometimes find myself on a little bit of a squabble and I miss average. It happens to all of us sometimes. So this is actually when I made it, I put it into a much smaller dish than it really should have been. So the finished thing was going to be like thick squares. Thankfully, I realized just in time, and I was able to transfer it across to the size dish that was in the recipe that you guys will see. So like I said, it happens to the best of us sometimes, so don't worry about it. Once you realize in time, you still have enough time to transfer it across and still get a perfect finished product, because it would not have enough time to set between that transfer process. So don't worry about it if it has happened to you before. You will eventually get the averaging down some point in time. So I chose to cut mine in squares, as you guys saw, but like I said, you can just leave it in the crumbles or the clumps, or even ball them into whatever size you prefer. So thanks as always, guys, for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.